Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for joining today's live stream as always. I hope there wasn't too much of a delay there. I know it took me a second to get it pulled up. So, as far as what I want to discuss before we get started, um, I do want to mention that I just finished my 50% off. I will likely, though, in the future. Now, the 50% off is the online fitness coaching program. All of my programs was what I was offering. Now, in the future, I will bring a new offer, likely for the new year. So, if you're interested in learning more, just continue to stay updated with me and continue to follow my content. If you haven't yet, you can sign up for the email list. If you want to sign up for that, I usually send out offers for different things related to my online coaching business. So definitely reach out to me if you want to be on the email list. But again, I'll probably likely offer a new sort of discount on my online coaching program in this new year that's coming up. So definitely watch for that if you're interested in learning more. But as of right now, I've ended my discount for the time being. But I do always sort of give new offers, give trials whenever I do sort of broadcast that. I'll let you know. But just keep in mind that those will be coming again. So, with all that being said, guys, that's all I really wanted to discuss before we get started. So, today is a topic that I haven't really discussed in the past, but I feel like it's a very important topic, especially when it comes to the holidays. We just had Thanksgiving and now we're moving on into Christmas. So, this I think will be a very timely topic, I guess you could say, about sugar. So, because of all of the desserts and everything and all of the foods that we consume around this time of year, I just felt like this would be a timely topic and it gives you enough time to sort of think about things before Christmas comes because it's a few weeks away so that you can be a little bit proactive. But what I'm going to talk about today is basically the best tactics to limit sugar in your diet. So, there's a lot of different things that I'm going to discuss, but first we're sort of going to do an introduction and sort of do an overview of exactly the topic that we're talking about today. Now, give me just one second. I just want to make sure one thing. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I was making sure I was getting audio. Okay, so back to what we were discussing. I know sometimes the audio will just go out sometimes, and I never know. But, anyways, going to the introduction of talking about, ways or tactics that you can sort of limit sugar in your diet. So, cutting out or reducing sugar from your diet can have numerous health benefits, including weight management, improved energy levels, and better dental health as well. So, there are many methods to keep in mind when it comes to cutting and reducing sugar from your diet. Keep in mind it is best to start with an easily achievable goal to take away sugar from your diet. So this sort of goes back to what I discussed previously, talking about, smart goals and creating more achievable goals to reach, whether you're focusing on fitness or whether you're focusing on nutrition. Having goals that are approachable and reachable is something that you need to focus on first, of course, and something you need to implement as the first tactic, especially when it comes to limiting sugar. Because I know for some people it's different. There's different things that you just need to keep in mind that some tactics may not work as good as others. So, and you may be more susceptible to, more sugar intake if you're in an environment, maybe if you're at a family gathering or anything like that where you're, tempted to, have, desserts or anything like that. So there's different things that you just need to keep in mind when it comes to, discussing these different tactics. So the first thing we will talk about, of course, is being mindful of labels. I think I've discussed a little bit about nutrition labels and nutrition facts in the past, but will likely in the near future bring back another stream where I'll discuss that a little bit in more detail and go over that a little bit better, because nutrition facts are very important to keep in mind and to be able to read them properly and to know exactly what each term means is important. So, reading labels, you need to be vigilant about reading food labels. Sugar can have under various names, such as sucrose, fructose, glucose, high fructose corn syrup, and many others. Understanding these terms will help you identify hidden sugars in products. So, when you're looking at nutrition facts, usually under the nutrition facts, there's an ingredient list, and that's what I'm mentioning here, where it talks about various names of sugars. So you can see that if you read an ingredients list on pretty much anything, you can find different names for sugars in there, and that'll tell you whether it has any particular added sugar in that particular food item. And of course, you have the sugars labeled there, but it can show up even if it does have, sugars on the main, sort of nutrition facts. It will likely have ingredients lists that may have extra sugar labeled. So just sort of keep that in mind, that that does happen as well. But just sort of notice those terms if you're looking at, any sort of nutrition facts label on anything. Now, I know a lot of foods, like, especially if you get like pies and things like that, of course, you're not going to really be able to, sort of identify that. But I'm going to sort of go a little bit further in discussing that and what you can do in those situations. So, of course, the main thing you need to do is to focus on choosing whole food options. Now, I understand that this is very difficult when it comes to the holidays, but what you need to keep in mind is that even despite it being the holidays, try as much as possible to keep your food intake right, and proper food intake throughout the holidays. Even if you sort of fall off the wagon, which I kind of did through Thanksgiving, if you just get back on track, you're totally fine. But if you can consistently sort of gain these habits over time, that's where you'll be more successful in sort of being able to avoid any of the other foods or any, sort of high sugar foods. It's a process, you can't just immediately eliminate sugar out of your diet. That's not what I'm trying to get across here. You just have to gradually change your habits and gradually change, the different foods that you eat. So what you need to focus on is choosing more whole foods. And again, going back to, sort of the SMART goals, just start small with these. You don't have to completely eliminate things. You just need to gradually change your habits. So you want to focus on whole foods, which is fruits, vegetables, whole foods. So whole foods is pretty much a general term, in other words. But while fruits do contain natural sugars, they also provide numerous health benefits that make them a valuable part of a balanced diet. Fruits contain natural sugars, including fructose, which are accompanied by fiber, water, and a variety of essential nutrients. Now, you notice previously on the last slide that I talked about different, different labels for sugars. Now, just because, when you're talking about fruit, that's a natural sugar. It's going to have natural sugar in it. That's not necessarily bad. So keep that in mind, that it's natural sugar combined with other nutrients. So that's just because fruit has sugar in it, that is more of a better option than choosing something else that's more processed, in other words. Vegetables are naturally low in sugar compared to many other foods, so choosing a variety of colorful vegetables can help you meet your nutritional needs without significantly increasing your sugar intake. So it's always said that you should, eat a bunch of, colored, sort of foods in your diet, vegetables, fruits. Any of those are very, very much good for you and are nutritious and are just great to, supplement. When it comes to me, the best thing I like to do if I do have like a sweet tooth is just focus on getting fruit. That sort of helps to, allow me to be, okay, I got that sweet tooth, but if I get like an apple or something, that's sort of covering that sweet tooth and I won't have to worry about it. That's what you kind of have to do when you get it started, is you just have to learn to sort of change your mindset and supplement what you would normally eat. Like if you would eat a cookie, sort of supplement that with, an apple, or supplement that with, there's a lot of really good fruits, grapes, um, anything like that. Watermelon, I like cantaloupes. You've got honeydew melon. There's a lot of different good fruits that you can supplement. Can be just as good, to cover a sweet tooth. So just keep that in mind. So, sort of finishing off this, whole foods are crucial for maintaining good health and well-being due to the comprehensive nutritional content and various health benefits they offer. So, if you're having whole foods, consistently, you're going to notice changes in how you feel because your body is getting, sufficient nutrients. And I've noticed that a lot too when I had sort of changed my diet. Right now, I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat vegetables every day pretty much. I really like broccoli. That's one of my favorites. Carrots. Um, I eat a lot of vegetable based stuff, and I really like salads too. But you'll notice a difference when you start to sort of change the foods you eat and how much better you feel and how much more energy you feel too when you just completely change your diet. But again, you don't want to do this just in one day. You want to do it as a gradual progression, because it's not easy to just completely change your diet and get adjusted to, fruits and vegetables and all that. You just have to gradually adjust it over time. But you'll notice a difference once you do change your diet. This is pretty much self-explanatory. But you want to avoid sugary drinks. Sugary drinks, including sodas, fruit juices, and sweetened teas, are major contributors to added sugar intake. Choose water, herbal teas, or infused water instead. This is another thing that I completely changed in my diet. Now I can say, for a fact, because I've, experienced these changes myself and I've done these changes myself. I do not drink any sodas whatsoever. The only thing that I do on occasionally, and I don't drink it that much, is energy drinks. But the types of energy drinks I usually get are always the low calorie, 0 calorie type energy drinks. Those aren't necessarily better, but they're to have sort of, to cover, sort of that sweet tooth, it is an option. But of course, you really want to limit energy drinks. But for me, I don't really drink them as much as I used to. I used to like sweet tea as well. I don't even drink it anymore. A lot. I mean, the only thing outside of water that I drink is energy drinks, and that's it. But I usually, I track my water intake every day, and I usually get at least 3 to 4 bottles of water a day since I've been tracking. So that's another thing that helps me with water intake. I know water intake can be difficult for certain people when you're adjusted to so many different, types of drinks or types of sodas that you drink. But, again, that's a gradual progression that you just need to, get accustomed to. But that's another major thing. You'll notice the difference too when you start avoiding drinks, more sugary drinks. Like I can't really drink soda. I don't like how it makes me feel now because it's been so long since I drink it, and it just gives me almost like a really full, bloated sort of feeling. And I think it's just because I just don't drink them anymore and my body's not used to that. So, you know, as you sort of start to supplement, your what you drink, you'll notice a difference in how you feel about water versus what you would feel about water. If you drink sodas all the time, you may not feel great about water, but when you start to supplement, and change what you drink, you'll notice a difference when you start getting adjusted to water. And then if you try to go back to sodas, you'll notice how you'll feel differently, about that. So I've dealt with that myself, so I completely understand. So moving on, we're basically focusing on different sort of sweeteners or natural sweeteners you can add to sort of supplement sugar. I've talked a lot about supplementing, whether it be, having fruits versus, more processed foods, or, focusing on, maybe more zero calorie based stuff, versus, the high sugar based drinks. So what I'm talking about here is primarily focused on the natural sweeteners that you should choose to sort of be able to, I guess you'd say, satiate your sweet tooth. So these are three that I have, and I'm going to describe them. So the first one is honey. This is actually a very good one and can be used in a lot of different ways. My dad actually uses honey all of the time as a sweetener, and it's a very good option to just use in your diet and use as a way to, sweeten something that's not sugar. So honey contains a variety of essential nutrients, including small amounts of vitamins such as vitamin B and vitamin C, minerals including calcium, iron, magnesium, and potassium, as well as antioxidants, while in small amounts, are mostly present in honey. Maple syrup. Maple syrup is a natural sweetener that provides sweetness without the need for added sugars or artificial sweeteners. It is a minimally processed sweetener typically produced by boiling down the sap of sugar maple trees. Agave nectar. Agave nectar is a natural sweetener that is extracted from the sap of the agave plant and provides sweetness without the use of refined sugars or artificial sweeteners. So you're starting to notice that these are very similar, or they sort of have, I would say they have more of a thicker texture. They're all very similar basic sweeteners, and they're all natural sweeteners. What I do want to mention, especially when it comes to honey, you can actually use honey as a sweetener in coffee. So I've got this from my dad. You can, instead of using sugar, or even using, like, if you use like Splenda or something like that, you can use honey. Now it does take a little bit to get adjusted to, because honey gives your coffee a little bit of a different taste than if you was to use sugar, but it still is a healthier option. If you wanted to drink coffee instead of adding sugar, you can use honey. That's something to keep in mind as well. That's something I really want to mention, because my dad, he's very particular on a lot of, more, I guess you'd say, more holistic based, um, nutrition. So, he's very particular with things of that nature, which I am too. I'm very particular with what I eat, and, what I intake into my body, because it's very important. And it changes how you feel when you change a lot of these different aspects of your nutrition. So this is something to just keep in mind. So low fat and diet products. So this is sort of basically what I'm trying to explain here, is to be a little bit hesitant when you see a lot of the low fat and diet based products. So while low fat diets gained popularity in the late 20th century as a means to promote weight loss and reduce the risk of heart disease, current research suggests that the quality of fats is more important than the quantity. So fats is not a bad thing. It's okay to get fats. You just need to focus. And this kind of goes back into carbs. I've talked about carbs multiple times, but it's more about the quality of what you're intaking versus cutting it out. So that's what you need to keep in mind. That's okay to get certain fats. You just need to focus on the quality of those particular fats. So that's what I sort of wanted to mention there. One tactic that you can try out is to meal plan. This is really great in it. If you, sort of plan these out, you're not really going to try to grab anything that's in the pantry. Or when you're planning something out and you have a meal plan and you've got it laid out for the week, you're just going to grab that and go. And so you're not going to, get a lot of added stuff that you don't need, basically. So meal planning is a crucial aspect of successfully cutting back on sugar in your diet. Incorporate lean protein sources such as chicken, fish, tofu, beans, and legumes. Protein helps with satiety. Always can't say that. That basically means that you're full. It helps you, stay full longer, and supports muscle maintenance during weight loss. Opt for low glycemic carbohydrates like quinoa, sweet potatoes, and legumes. Legumes are basically beans. So these foods have a slower impact on blood sugar, providing sustained energy. Include sources of healthy fats like avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil. Fats contribute to flavor, help control hunger, and are essential for nutrient absorption. So these are some of the things that you can keep in mind. Just when you're meal planning, you just want to keep these sort of options in mind. Focus on lean protein, carbohydrates, sweet potatoes. You don't want to add, of course, a bunch of brown sugar and things to sweet potatoes. You just want, basically the way, it's meant to be eaten. You don't want to add too much extra stuff to it. You want to have a clean diet, basically. And of course, avocados, great. Fats, seeds, olive oil. You could actually use olive oil for a dressing on salads. That's another thing that you could do. So just keep these sort of things in mind when you're meal planning. You don't want to just throw anything in there. You want to be mindful of what you're planning. So the last thing I do want to mention here is about educating yourself. So weight gain on obesity, high sugar diets can lead to an increased calorie intake without providing essential nutrients, contributing to an imbalance in energy consumption and expenditure. Now it's pretty much known that weight gain and obesity all stems from your diet, and it can stem from other things, but it is primarily focused on what you're consuming in your diet. So keep in mind that high sugar in your diet is going to affect your energy consumption as well as your expenditure. So it will affect your metabolism as well. So keep that in mind. Top 2, diabetes. A diet rich in added sugars has been linked to an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. High sugar intake can lead to insulin resistance, where the body's cells become less responsive to insulin, resulting in elevated blood sugar levels. You've likely heard commercials on insulin resistance. That's basically what it is talking about, is more focusing on type 2 diabetes. That's what can be linked to that. Cardiovascular issues, sort of a lot of this really has to do with the heart too. You've got blood sugar, and then you've got your heart, so it can affect different parts of your body. High sugar consumption is associated with an increased risk of heart disease. Diets high in added sugars can contribute to elevated blood pressure, inflammation, and abnormal lipid profiles. So just keep all of these in mind, that if you have a high sugar diet, you're more susceptible to weight gain, you more susceptible to type 2 diabetes, as well as cardiovascular issues. Now, like I said, even if you just have a high sugar diet now, that doesn't mean you can't change your habits. And if you're so, focused on eating a lot of processed stuff, again, you want to just start slow. I think that's a lot of the issues that many people have, is that they try to change stuff too quickly, and they just want to, you know, get to their result fast, but that's not how you get there efficiently. You've got to really slow down. You've got to just start to change the smaller habits. And then as you change those smaller habits, you'll get more adjusted to those habits. And that, later on, those types of processed foods won't even matter. For me, I don't really eat any sort of sugary based stuff. I mean, the last time I really did was during Thanksgiving. Now, as for my regular diet, that never really, I just don't. If I have, want something sweet, I'll get like a banana, maybe Greek yogurt, something to help supplement that sweet tooth that's healthy. So it's just something you have to change your mindset. A lot of it is about changing your mindset on how you see, you know, or how you choose the foods that you eat and things of that nature. So, with all that being said, guys, I know it's a lot of information that I shared there, but I really wanted to sort of go a little bit in detail with this topic because it is very important, and I feel like it gives you a little bit more knowledge on sugar and different things that you can change in your day-to-day life when it comes to your nutrition. Again, you just want to start small. But if you have any questions or have any feedback, you can email me. I've got my phone number here where you can text. And then you can also visit my website, which I have active and running right now, where you can check out a little bit more about my online fitness program, how it's structured, what applications I use to help my clients reach their goals. That's all there. But all that being said, guys, thank you for watching. I will have another live stream coming next week, and will be sharing that event pretty soon. But like always, it'll be at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday of next week. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next live stream.